They're not making guns, they're making skin creams.
Oh, okay.
It just upset me to see that. You know, there's a bunch of Jewish guys there with a shop selling nail files and hand creams. And straight away there's a bunch of people out the front with signs. Just like in World War II, just the same thing the Nazis did, you know? Like my grandfather lived in Poland and they invaded. And then what he used to eat was the glue they used to use on the poles to stick up anti-Jew posters. They used to use like a flour and water mix back then, and he was starving, so he used to eat that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then I see signs up there, Israel has blood on its hands. You know, it reminds me of those stories. It reminds me of the stories my mother told me, the stories my grandpa told me before he died. And it's not good. I mean, how is running down a bunch of Hebrews trying to sell skin cream gonna stop the war? You know? I mean, that's a political matter. It's not right to go there and harass people that are just trying to, you know, make an honest living. It's not good. I mean,
okay. So they're sort of saying there's, you know, like the rushing of houses and all that sort of stuff. I don't know the different.
Well, it goes both ways, you know. The IDF, they are extreme, but they have to be. Nobody wants them there, and they want to stay there. So, I mean, I don't condone violence and war of any kind, but if you were persecuted and slaughtered and enslaved for your people for 5,000 years, and you finally have your promised land, would you want to give it up? Do you want to give it up without a fight? No, I wouldn't. I mean, let's say all the Aboriginal people in Australia, there was a war and they got, you know, people have invaded and they got drafted off all over the world. And so many generations later, they want to come back to their land, they want to come back to their roots, they want to come back to Australia, you know? And then the white Aussies say, hey, we've been here for decades and centuries. You can't live here. And then the Aborigines get a foot in the door and they fight to protect it, and that's wrong. That's wrong, is it? No. I don't like it. You know, it's not good. I mean, you know, before Greece invaded, this is going back centuries and thousands of years. Before Greece invaded, the Palestine was originally Philistine. See, Palestine is actually a Greek pronunciation. Now, the Philistines are one of the 12 tribes of Hebrews of the time. But from invasions and invasions and invasions, people start to lose their identity, and now we've got this crap going on. I mean, I don't really want to get involved with politics as much, but, you know, they're not hurting nobody by selling foot cream. You know, it's not hurting Palestine by selling foot cream. They say they pay tax to the government, which goes towards the army. Well, they can't help they have to pay tax. You know, I have to pay tax. I don't particularly like it, and I don't choose where it goes. But everybody's going to live. And he said, "Oh, let the Israelis suffer for a bit." You know, no. Why should the Israelis suffer for a bit? You know, we've suffered for thousands of years. We've suffered from the Egyptians. All the pyramids, they were built by Jews, slaves. We've suffered from friggin' just about every continent on this globe. We are considered the most persecuted race on earth, and we are. We suffered horrifically in World War II. I mean, God, the stuff Joseph Mengele did to Jewish people, that Hitler did to Jewish people, it's, ugh. You know, you watch some of those videos, you can't sleep at night. And no, I don't think they should suffer for a bit. I think they suffered enough. I think that's why they want their own land, you know? And it's not right for people to go into the street and preach hate. That's how war starts. You know, that's how bad things happen. They're preaching hate. They're trying to get people against another country. They're trying to get people to go against, to You know, I'm surprised they're not holding up the Israeli flag and burning it. I'm sure they want to. I mean, it's not right. You know, I've got relatives living over there. I've got a cousin. He a few years ago, they were having a lot of bombings in Israel, and he rings me up and he goes, "Hello, how's your mother? Oh, this week I'm going to go to the cinema in Tel Aviv because there's not that many bombings."
Right.
So that's why the IDF are so tough. You know, they have to be, because if they're not, then finished. You know, they complain about Israel, but nobody complains about America. They go to other countries and kill people too, but if nobody complains about them, then Israel don't cross the border and kill everybody. Israelis stay in Israel. They stay in Israel and they've got their arms ready to defend it. You know, and they say the Palestinians lived there first. They didn't. Our ancestors, Israelites, walked on that land thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. They walked on that land before anybody. And they say we were there first. They were. You know why? Because whether they like it or not, they're part of that family tree themselves. They just don't realise it. Like I said, Palestine was once Philistine. Who were the Philistines? A mob of Jews. Yeah. I just wish they would stop preaching in the middle of the street.
Okay.
You know, because I think it's preaching hate. Really, I think it's damaging to people. You know, I listen to him. I let him talk to me. You know, fair enough. I'll hear both sides, but yeah, it's only. It's just not right. I mean, these guys are just there selling soap and nail files. They're not hurting no one. They can't help who they pay tax to. And they want to cut off the Israeli economy. Yeah, let them suffer for a while. No, I think they've suffered enough. That's why they're there. They're sick of suffering. That's why they want their own country, their own land. So no one can bully them anymore. No one can pick on them. No one can enslave them. No one can kill them. You know, he's trying to tell me that there's a Palestinian has never killed a Jew. That's a lie.
Yes, that's right.
I've lost relatives in Israel from things happening. You know, they hate them so much, they get through. I'm not saying all Islamic people are terrorists, I'm just saying it does happen. They do get through and they do blow themselves up and they do cause damage. That's why the army's there, to protect the land from people who might do that. I mean, they just want their own home. That's all they want, is their own home. And, you know, there's none of it's even going on in Australia, and these guys come all the way over here because someone's selling soap to blur hate. You know, it's disgusting because that's what happened in the war, in World War II. People had signs up, people had posters up, people even had videos. Jews this, Jews that, they're rotten, and look what happened. Thousands upon thousands of us killed. There were dead bodies of Jews higher than that roof there, you know? And my grandfather spent the rest of his life in fear after what happened to him. He had fingers cut off by Nazis. And my mother's name was changed, my mother's birth date was changed, even all their siblings, because he was picnicking in the Barossa Valley when he was in Australia and he saw the officer that cut off his fingers. He saw the officer that beat him half to death and cut off his fingers.
Oh, okay.
So my granddad was a partisan. They were like what you call like a guerrilla army back during the war. A mob of Jews, Poles, some Russians, they would get together and they'd hide out in the forest and try and resist against the Nazi uprising. And that's what my grandfather was. And basically, he wouldn't dob his friends in, so the only reason why they let him go is because they thought he was dead. They beat him that horrifically. He was starved. He had fingers missing because they cut him off to torture him. Nails ripped out with pliers. And then they threw his body into the big heap of corpses. Well, he wasn't dead, but he wasn't far from it. And if he lived, then he migrated to Australia with his wife. That was my mother, and I used to hear stories about, you know, posters, bloody signs, this, that, and right, there's not a big Jewish community in Adelaide, but there is one, and it's hurtful to us because it's like again, well, they're going to put a big sign there saying a Jewish nose is shaped like a 6 and that it's evil, you know, things like that, which have happened. So pro-Palestine, pro-Israel, doesn't matter. The signs should stop. It's not right. It's discriminating, you know. It's hurtful. It's hurtful to people who have been hurt enough. And that's it. That's all I got to say, but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.